Yo guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another video. Now today we have got another tier list video, but this one is all about the Formula 1 games, mainly done by Codemasters, and I've also thrown in F1 Championship Edition as well, because it was a big part of my childhood. But yeah, once again we've got S, A, B, C and D, so we're going to run through all of the games and where I would rank them personally. As you guys know, I'm a big Formula 1 fan. I've played every single one of these games. So without further ado, let's get into the tier list. So starting it all off then with the first game on this list, and that is the most current one, F1 2021. And for me personally, I think this is the best game that we've ever had in the franchise, 100%. So this is, for me, going straight to S rank. Just a really good job from Codemasters, and obviously EA were in this partnership as well, which was fantastic. Obviously, you know, EA are very well known for their development in the sport games and stuff, so it was really cool to see them back in. And I actually think they've bought out Codemasters, so this year's game in 2022 I think are all EA, so I don't think Codemasters are in it at all, I don't think. But nevertheless, really solid job, and I absolutely love 2021, and it's really the F1 game has really took off, you know, with the Sidemen playing it as well. There's so many people that you wouldn't expect to play it who have started playing it, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. So yeah, 2021 for me is definitely the best game we've ever had in the franchise. Next up is F1 2011. Now this was quite a controversial one. A lot of people liked this game, and a lot of people I don't think did like the game. It was known for its very cartoony sort of look to it. It was very bright and colourful, the game, and the handling model for the game was absolutely insane. You could throw the car in at really high speeds. It was really astonishing, to be honest. But for me personally, I didn't really visit this game too much when it came out. Obviously, you know, I was always quite hyped when the new game came out, but for the funness and for all that cool stuff, it was only obviously the only, I think it was the third game they made at the time. I'm going to put it in the middle. So we'll put it in a B. I might, like I said, I'll probably come back and just double check everything where I've put it after. But for me, it will go in the middle. Like I said, I didn't really play it that much, but it was a fun game. Don't get me wrong, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. Next up, 2020. Again, this was the first time we had my team introduced, and F1 2021 sort of expanded upon everything really, and obviously having the breaking point in it as well. But F1 2020 for me, I think, is going to go in S rank as well. Again, it sort of gave us the introduction to my team, like I said, and then 2021 was able to expand upon it. But 2020 still a solid game. I still got lots of hours played on that game, and yeah, really enjoyable. F1 2015. What a disaster this was. This was the first game on the new generation console at the time, obviously Xbox One and PS4, but what a shambles of a game. I think this was probably the time when F1, well, Codemasters and everyone thought Codemasters was going to be gone, because honestly, after coming off 2014 as well, which wasn't the best game, 2015 for me has got to go in D. Everything from the graphics, from the game options, from the bugginess, from the glitchiness, it was such a really poor game. And for the time, the handling model was really cool. That's the only good thing about this game, is the handling model. That's about it. And obviously it was the first time, you know, we actually saw drivers on the podium and stuff, and that was all cool. But from a gameplay wise, apart from the handling model, it was atrocious. There were so many bugs and glitches. But yeah, just like I said, the actual graphics as well, like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the colours and everything. It was really poorly designed. Didn't like it at all. And for me, it's probably one of the worst in the franchise. 2016. Now this is probably going to be very controversial, but for me, after Codemasters came off 2014 and 2015, two of the worst games in the franchise, 2016 for me has got to go in S rank. I really love this game, and like I said, after coming off two really bad years for Codemasters, this was a game that really sort of made everyone really hyped again for it. It was the first time we had any sort of R&D. They brought safety cars back. We even had virtual safety cars. Just so much stuff you could do compared to the last two games that we had at the time. But 2016 for me was really, really cool. I loved the AI as well. The AI were really cool. They were pretty unpredictable, and they did make quite a lot of mistakes as well, especially on like the higher difficulties like Legend and Expert and stuff. So yeah, really, really love 2016. Just like the simplicity of it. But yeah, I mean, it does get quite boring after a while, whereas like F1 2020 or 2021, for example, you know, there's lots of R&D to do. I mean, the R&D was quite basic in 2016, but like I said, coming off the 2 years that we had, it was such a well-needed game. And yeah, I absolutely love 2016. Next up is 2010. Now, for me, I did like this game. I think this is the first F1 game of Codemasters that I ever played. Championship Edition was the first one, but I've only thrown that in here, like I said, because it was a massive part of my childhood. But 2010 for me is a solid game, and I think if you ask any Formula One fan who plays games, I think they would say that 2010 is up there as one of the best because of the nostalgia, because it's probably one of the first games they started playing, and yeah, so it brings back a lot of good memories. But for me, it doesn't quite go in the S rank, because if you go back and play F1 2010, obviously for the time it was quite old still, and you know, they were just starting out. Codemasters is this like big F1 company, but for me, F1 2010 can go in A rank. The handling model was very, very understeery. There was a lot of auto spin curbs, but if you want to go back and play it for nostalgia, I completely understand, because it was a fantastic game at the time for that sort of thing. But that's sort of where a lot of people's like F1 YouTube channels started as well, because obviously I've been watching many F1 YouTubers for a very long time. I've watched like Tia McMurdoch, Arava, Noble, XManny, all those guys. So yeah, it was really, really cool to see how far all those guys have come. But 2010 for me, a solid game, but doesn't quite go in the S rank, unfortunately. Next up, we've got F1 2017. Now, again, this is obviously the year after 2016. They expanded upon the R&D, but apart from that, I don't really remember much of it, to be honest. And for me, I think it's probably going to go in the middle again. But just a bit of a meh game, really. Obviously, we had the introduction of classic cars again in 2017, but that didn't really hype it up that much. Only for like the first few months, and then it kind of got a little bit boring. We didn't have any like classic tracks or anything like that. Yeah, so yeah, apart from that, it was pretty much an average sort of game, really. And I'm going to say the same for that with 2018 as well. 2018 and 2017 for me are just sort of meh games. They didn't really spark anything. They didn't really do anything for me. So yeah, for 2017 and 2018, they're going to go for B rank for me. Next up is 2014. Now, again, I've already mentioned this when I was talking about 2015, but for me, it is going to go in the D rank, but I am going to put it above 2015 for the simple fact that at least 2014 had safety cars and red flags. That's the only reason why I'm putting it above 2015, because 2015 didn't even have a safety car. What? They took out probably one of the best features in any Formula 1 game. So for me, that's why 2014 goes above 2015. But again, 2014 was a very lazy game, just like 2015. The handling model was a massive downgrade from 2013. So yeah, for me, 2014 and 2015, two of the worst games in the whole entire franchise. 2019, again, I don't really remember too much of, to be honest. But I think it was a little bit better than 2018, because this is where we had the introduction of obviously being, you know, an F2 driver. We had a tiny bit of the campaign from like F2. We had like 3 races, and then it was just like the normal career mode. But yeah, no, I think they did some cool stuff with the whole game. So I think I'm going to put it in an A rank. I think it goes above 2018 and 2017. Next up, F1 Championship Edition. So like I said, this is the only game on here that's not made by Codemasters, but for obvious reasons, a lot of people see this as a fantastic Formula 1 game, way ahead of its time as well. And yeah, it is a fantastic game. The only thing that lets it down, again, is the handling model. It's a very, very similar story to 2010, I would say. Very understeery, very auto spin curves as well. A very punishing game, because I don't think this game ever had flashbacks or anything like that as well. So if you were out of a race, you were out for good. But for the nostalgia, and because it was way ahead of its time, I think it's got to go in S rank. It has to, because it was one of the first, I think it was the first F1 game I ever played, so it's definitely got to go in S rank for me. F1 2012, now again, another game where I'm sort of like, I don't know where to put this, but it was definitely a step up from 2011, that's for damn sure. I don't know if it's A or S worthy, so I think I'm going to put it in B, but ahead of 2011, and definitely ahead of these two, because again, it was quite a big step up from 2011, and I really enjoyed 2012. I think the just the overall look of the game, a lot of the scenario modes I really enjoyed as well, and yeah, just like a solid game. And I know this sounds weird, but when it comes to an F1 game, I like the feel of the cockpit and stuff. So I don't know what I'm trying to say at this point, but I know what I mean. But for me, I thought 2012 really pulled that off. So yeah, I'm going to put it in B. Now, 2013, probably, in a lot of people's opinion, one of the best games that Codemasters has ever made, and I agree. I think this was a game that really got a lot of people interested in the Formula 1 franchise, in the game-wise. But yeah, I'm going to put it in S rank. I'm probably going to put it ahead of these three, because again, it was a massive step up from the last three that we had. This was the introduction of classic cars and classic tracks. We had a really cool career mode. Even like the menus of like us in the wind tunnels and stuff were really, really cool. And then yeah, it was a really solid game. And then to go from that to 2014 and 2015 was just a shambles, really. So yeah, not great, but a very, very solid game. I really, really enjoyed it. And this is sort of the era of when a lot of people's YouTube channels took off and stuff. So I think a lot of people respect 2013 as a solid game. And the last one on the list is F1 2009, the first game that came out from Codemasters. It was actually originally for the Wii, but yeah, it's not a good game. It's probably one of the worst. I think I actually played it on the PSP, but it still wasn't much better on the PSP or the Wii. So yeah, unfortunately that's going to go at the bottom. But there we go, guys. That has been my Formula 1 game tier list. Let me know what you think. I definitely agree with all my picks. I don't think there's anything that I want to change at all. But yeah, you probably have a different opinion. If you do let me know in the comments. Where would you put these? Or I'll put the link in the description of this one, because I actually made this one myself. So I'll leave a link in the description. You could do it yourself and then send it to me via Instagram or TikTok or whatever. But yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, guys, please do give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you do want to see more tier list videos, and I can do more genres, maybe get Holly involved in one as well. And yeah, if you have enjoyed it, like I said, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are new as well, and I will see you all again in the next one, guys. Take care.